Hello everyone. I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today we are going to talk about how being an author is kind of like being a bakery. So what exactly do I mean by this? Before I start, I do want to give just a little disclaimer on that I'm not a baker. I don't know anything about the logistics of running a bakery. This is just supposed to be like a fun analogy, essentially. So, disclaimer over. How is being an author like being a bakery? One of the big frustrations that authors face is the disconnect between getting our books out there and getting them published, and then getting them into the hands of our readers, and of course making money doing that. That seems to be the hardest part. This disconnect, we're going to use the analogy of being a bakery to explain the frustrations of how that disconnect happens and to kind of give hyperbole on what exactly makes this so frustrating in that it is rather ridiculous. Being an author is like being a bakery with that you have this store, whether that's your books are physically in a bookshop, your books are available on some website somewhere online, whether that's one of the big websites like Amazon, or it's on your own personal website, or whatever website online, or it's selling in person. Just imagine any of these interchangeable places where you can sell a book is just the bakery shop. So we have our location where people can go and buy the books. And you are the baker in your bakery. You are the one who is there running everything yourself. You create all the recipes. You go out and you source all of the materials that you need. You bake everything, and then you're also the cashier. You put everything out and you sell everything and do all the money, and you also do all the marketing to advertise the bakery and all your baked goods and all that stuff. And obviously in this scenario, your baked goods are your books. So just make sure we're all on the same page here. Sounds easy enough, right? People love sweet treats, as one does going to a bakery. People like books, as one does shopping for books online or going to a book convention or going to a bookstore, whatever have you. You would think these things should just be able to sell themselves, right? It really shouldn't be that hard, but it is. One of the pitfalls that authors fall for is the idea of giving out free samples. We're going to use the bakery as an example for this one on how that actually works. You're in your bakery and business is slow. You haven't really sold many baked goods, you've had to throw away too many cupcakes, and it's eating into your bottom line. So what do? I know. I'll go out in front of my bakery and I'll have a fun little tray of mini cake pops to give out as free samples, because once people try my little cake pops, they're going to know how good all my cupcakes and cakes and danishes and whatever have you are, and they'll come in and they'll buy all these big items. Right? Wrong. Unfortunately, that doesn't really work very well in terms of selling books as an author. This probably does work well for bakeries IRL. Unfortunately, it doesn't work very well for being an author with books. Whether that's you're giving out a free ebook, the whole thing, or you're giving out a free short story, or you're even giving out free physical copies of your books, which, just right off the bat, do not do that. Just don't. Period, end of sentence. Do not give out free copies of your books as some sort of like trial thing, like free sample thing. Never do that. Just do not, full stop. And here's why. So you go out, you stand in front of your bakery with your fun little tray of cake pops, and of course everybody sees, oh, free samples. Who doesn't love a free sample? People come up and they're like, oh, don't mind if I do, and take a cake pop. Some people probably try to take two if you let them. People will always take a mile if you give them an inch. So regardless of if you enforce one free sample per person or not, it really doesn't matter. But all these people are taking your free samples. Next day comes, you think, oh yeah, they really loved my cake pops. Everybody took all the free samples. There were none left. All the free samples were gone. Everyone talked about how much they loved the cake pops. Delicious. Wonderful. Next day in your shop, no new customers. None of those people who enjoyed your free samples come into your bakery. This is unfortunately the reality as an author, is that if you give out free samples, the people who are going to buy your books are not the people who are going to take free samples from you. And the reason why is because there is a very specific type of person who is always on the lookout for free stuff. And these people will never be your customers. Never, ever. They are looking only for free stuff. They don't care what it is. As long as it's free, they will never buy anything from you. And I've seen this. I've seen this happen where people will talk about, oh, I got this free book, and they're never going to read it. They don't care about it. They don't know anything about the book. They don't know anything about the author, and they don't care. They're just excited that they got a free thing. And a lot of times they'll also be like, how can I sell this? Is it worth anything? Can I sell it? A lot of people will take free stuff just so that they can flip it. Giving out free copies of your books, free samples of your ebook, free short stories or whatever is not going to get you new readers, unfortunately. Now, the asterisk to that situation is it is a good idea to give away free stuff in terms of that if you have really good readers, like people who are diehard fans of yours, you can do an and. So you can say, hey, if you buy my latest copy of blah-de-de-blah whatever, you will also get a free download to my ebook for a different book in your library. Maybe it's an older one in your arsenal that isn't selling very well anyway, so it doesn't matter. Always have it be an and, that somebody is already buying something from you and you give them a free item as a thank you for buying something. That does win you back customers, because then they're like, oh, well, I bought this book and I really enjoyed it, and then I got to enjoy this other book by this author. I want to continue buying books from them because I really enjoy their books, because I got to read 2 of their books for the price of 1, and I found that I really like their stories and I want to keep reading their stories. That will win you back customers. And also, it will weed out those people who are only looking for free stuff that don't care about you or your books. So that is the way to get around the free samples problem. So the next problem is marketing your books. You're in your bakery, you've got all your beautiful pastries and cakes and donuts and things, and you're like, hey, I am so good at decorating all of these scrumptious treats. I should put them on Instagram, and then everyone will want to come in here and they'll want to buy all my awesome sweet treats and take pictures with the sweet treats and post it on Instagram and enjoy it and talk about how delicious and pretty it was and da-da-da-da. Sounds good on paper, right? Sounds like a good plan. Here's the problem, is people will always try to find a way around stuff when you try to market things. They will always try to find a way to beat the system. So in this case, with the prettiness, so I've seen that there's a big trend right now of a lot of authors having special edition copies of their books, where the whole point of it is that it's very pretty. So the cover art is very pretty. They even have the images that are printed on the pages of the books. So when the book is closed and you have it backwards in the bookshelf, like that has art on it too, on the actual paper. I've seen a lot of people where they will go into bookstores. So this is obviously a physical place problem, not so much an online problem, but people will go into physical stores and they will pick up the book and they will take all the pretty pictures with the book and then put the book back. So now they have all the pretty pictures on their Instagram or whatever, and they have not bought the book. Now, you may be thinking, well, this is great marketing because now they're taking more pictures of my book and putting it out there on social media for other people to see, and that can be useful. However, unfortunately, currently, there is this whole trend right now of that pretty is the point, not reading. This whole group of bookstagrammers who only collect pretty books just to collect them, those are fine too because they're buying your book. At the end of the day, we as authors, we don't give a shit if you buy our book and then never read it or you do whatever with it because we already got paid. So that's great. I mean, of course, we want you to read the book and most importantly, we want you to enjoy the book. But honey, at the end of the day, we have bills to pay. And if you want to buy the book to do I don't know what with, that is your business and not mine. More power to you. However, it's the same line as the freebie people. They're the people where they don't want to do the investment of buying the book. They just want to make their Instagram pretty, and they are looking for as much content that they can pump out as possible for their own means. And so they will go to conventions or bookstores or whatever have you to get that content for free. Those people are not really going to help you. Sure, technically that can bring you a little bit more visibility online. However, you also have to keep in mind that a lot of these people are trying to grow their own social media channels, which means a lot of times their social media isn't very big. They don't have a lot of followers. They don't have a lot of reach. So these free pictures are basically just screaming into the void, just like you are. It doesn't help anybody. So that's unfortunate. And then, of course, the entire job of marketing, which every author hates. We would spend so much more time churning out more books for y'all if we didn't have to spend it on marketing, because marketing is just a forever all the time thing, and it sucks. And that's what you're going to find, is you're going to find that, wow, I could decorate so many more cakes. I could bake so many more cookies if I didn't have to spend all day finding ways to market them to get people to buy them. And so you start trying to come up with kooky, off-the-wall things to get more customers into your bakery. And the problem with that is that you start reaching a wider audience. Yay! The problem is that a lot of times casting that wide net, you're not necessarily going to get the people that you're looking for. With that comes people who don't know how to support authors, but they think they know, and they're here to tell you how to market your stuff. These are the worst kind of people. Honestly, it's so frustrating. Back to the bakery, how we're illustrating to explain what these kind of people are. These are the people who are walking down the street and they see your bakery. And they see all your beautiful cakes and everything in the windows looking so cute and so pretty. And they come inside and they're like, oh, I see you have all of these beautiful cakes and cookies and donuts and things. And you're like, oh, thank you so much. I baked them myself. Are you looking for anything in particular? And they're going to be largely unhelpful and just kind of be like, I don't know. Like, you don't really have a lot of customers in here. And you'll be like, yeah, I'm doing my best. I've been trying out some stuff with marketing, and unfortunately, I'm just not getting the customers in that I'm really looking for, and it's a slow day. And then they're going to lean on that counter and they're going to be like, well, let me tell you all about what I think you should do to market your cakes and your cookies and your donuts and things. And they're going to give you advice that has absolutely nothing to do with sweet treats or with the baking industry or with anything that you know about selling cookies and things. For the sake of this analogy, they're going to tell you, you know what you should do? You should get all of these car fans in here. You should absolutely put out a sign and say you're going to do a classic car night. One of those nights where you're going to have all of those people come with their classic cars. They're going to park them out front, in your parking lot, and they're going to attract all these customers, and they're all going to buy your sweet treats. You should absolutely do that. Just trust me, bro. And if you take the bait and you take this person's advice, even though this has nothing to do with sweet treats, this has nothing to do with baking, this has nothing to do with any of the secondary things that your bakery can do, which is bake wedding cakes, bake birthday cakes, do catering, breakfast for brunch events or whatever. I feel like I've tried everything. Why not? You put out a sign, you put out some flyers saying you're going to do this classic car event thing, and then guess what happens? You have a bunch of people show up, clog up the parking lot of your bakery with all their cars and all the people who are fans of these cars, and they're all just going to be hanging out in your parking lot all day. And people are only going to come into your bakery to use the bathroom and to ask you if they can have free water. And then people who are driving past, who are thinking about, I deserve a sweet treat today. I think I want to stop in and get a cookie. And then they try to pull into the parking lot and they notice, oh, it's really crowded today. And they drive a little bit more and see, oh, there are no parking spaces. I can't go to the bakery. There's nowhere to park. And in fact, on top of it, these car people are being very rude and yelling at your potential customer that they need to leave because they're driving too close to the classic cars and they might accidentally scuff someone's car. So they actually end up chasing your potential customer away. Now, you have all these people here, but none of them want to buy sweet treats and are actually preventing people from buying sweet treats. retreats from you. This is a very real thing that happens to authors, where people will give bad advice that they don't know anything about the writing or publishing or book industry. And then you take that bad advice, and it can do anything from make you lose out on sales to actively hurting your brand. And yes, that can happen, is unfortunately, if you play stupid games, you can win stupid prizes, and that includes hurting your brand, and that does happen. So you may be wondering, well, what's the book equivalent of all these cars clogging up a bakery's parking lot? Well, let me tell you. So I did an event that had nothing to do with books. Absolutely nothing. But I saw it as a cosplay opportunity. Now, I do want to put that nobody gave me any advice to be a part of this event. I saw the event on my own and thought it would be a good idea, and boy, was I wrong. And so I go and do this event. First of all, it's outside. Big mistake. If you write books, it is a big risk doing an outside event because there's this fun thing called rain. Thankfully, at this particular event, I was very lucky and it did not rain, but it has rained on me at other outdoor events that I've done, which is why I do not do outdoor events anymore, because books and rain do not go together. Because of the way that this event was set up, the expectations of the guests, the attendees at this event were just worlds apart and were absolutely not my audience, and they were absolutely not interested in my books. And it ended up being an absolutely infuriating experience for me. Problem number one was that this was an event where they had a very specific theme. And the reason why I'm being vague is because I've already went on a rant about this on Facebook, but I don't want to get hated on because there's so many people where this event is absolutely beloved by them and play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I don't want to hurt my brand by calling out this event specifically and then having people come hate on me and hate on my books. So I'm being vague on purpose. But this event had a very specific theme. And so they told everybody that you have to cosplay on theme, which of course, come on now, your girl. Cosplaying on theme, because that's what I do. Unfortunately, they didn't give any instructions on what you should or should not cosplay as, because they had people that were hired to be professional, I use that term loosely, cosplayers at the event. Basically, people who were there to be characters at the event were dressed as very general characters. They were not specific. It was very general. And so the whole point of them was, it was like a whole scavenger hunt thing where you had to go to all the different characters to get something, and then when you get all the somethings, you get a prize sort of thing. It was like a fun thing for the kids to do. The problem is that the first day that I did this event, it was a 2-day weekend event. I was miserable by day 2. And I learned my lesson and changed what I was going to wear for day 2 of the event based on what happened. Was that unfortunately everyone thought that I was one of the people that was a part of this scavenger hunt thing. And so all day I had people coming up to my booth demanding the thing for the scavenger hunt. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, because unfortunately also the event coordinators did a very poor job of explaining the stuff that was going to happen at the event. So I had no idea the scavenger hunt thing was even a thing, or that there were going to be other professional people doing a thing at the event. So I just have all these people coming up to my booth demanding, where's my thing? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm here to sell books. What is happening? People getting mad at me. And I didn't find out through the event people. I found out I then saw the person that they were all looking for walked past my booth. And I'm like, oh, I see. Okay. So I had to put 2 and 2 together. And then I was able to start directing people. No, you're looking for the blah, blah, blah. They're over there. And I still had people who didn't believe me. They're like, no, just give us the thing. And I'm like, I don't have the thing. I'm not the person. Okay. It was infuriating. And then also I noticed that for this particular event, for whatever reason, the people had the expectation of garage sale prices for things. Now, I don't really know how other people at the event did in terms of selling their stuff, because I saw other booths that had cosplay stuff, that had reenactment stuff, that had a lot of other stuff that's expensive, way more expensive than books. So I have no idea what their experience was. But with me, people were angry that I didn't have anything at my booth that was $1 to $5. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have books. I don't have little cheap tchotchke things for like $1. I just don't. I'm sorry. And on top of it, the fact that these people were just so disrespectful to my books too. Like, I literally had a woman pick up a book by the front cover. So I will demonstrate on one of my personal books. I can be mean to my own books. Okay. So, Love of the Sea, my first novel. I'm not going to fully pick it up because it was horrifying, but picked it up like this, just by the cover like this, almost ripped the cover off the book. First of all, I don't know who was raised to think this is the appropriate way to pick up a book, but that was the level of disrespect that I experienced from the people at this event. And guess how many sales I made? 1. And that 1 was because I had a friend, an online friend, who happened to live in the area that this event was at, and they specifically came to the event to see me in person and buy a book from me in person, because that was going to be like their one opportunity to do that, because I was finally in their area. And I don't count that sale because that wasn't related to the event. That was a person who was already a fan of mine who went out of their way. No one at the actual event bought any of my books. I learned a lot of lessons doing that disaster of an event. But that's the same thing as whether it's you go to an event to sell your books, or you sign up for a specific type of book tour or a contest or some like online service thing, or maybe you sign up to have your books in a particular like indie bookstore, or maybe some sort of like consignment thing at like a store that's not necessarily a bookstore, but maybe it's more of a catch-all thing. Those are the kinds of things where that can happen, where you can basically have this car show in your parking lot thing where you have a lot of people who are interacting with your books, but none of them are the right people, and you're not selling anything, and it just ends up being a nightmare and just so much extra work and hullabaloo and headache for you, and potentially even revenue loss, in that maybe people are damaging your stuff, not treating it with respect, or you're even out of investment money for having set up whatever it is in the first place, and it sucks. The last point that I'll make with our fun little bakery analogy here is the idea of that people are helping. So this is another frustrating thing that authors deal with, and bless them, I know people think that they're helping, but it is monumentally frustrating as the author. There are many ways that people can help authors that are free options that don't necessarily mean buying our books or spending money. They're free things that you can do to help us. That means liking, commenting, and sharing our posts about our books, following our social media platforms, telling people about our books, putting up book reviews for the books that you've already read of our books, maybe doing a little post about it yourself, share a picture of, if you have one of our books, share a picture of it and be like, hey, I read this book by so-and-so and it was so great and I really enjoyed it. I really recommend them if you like fantasy or whatever have you. All of those things are wonderful. Those are free ways that you can help authors. Here are the things that people do that are not helpful and don't bring us any money, and also, I guess, technically don't cost anything. But it's the idea of, I'll use the bakery, for example. Let's say at the bakery, you're coming out with a new flavor of donut. You've come out with banana strawberry donuts, and you're very excited about them, and you do a whole marketing campaign to be like, hey, we have these new donuts at our bakery. We're so excited about them. They're a new flavor. Look at how cool they are. They have real bananas and strawberries on them. They're so Instagrammable, and for the first week release, we're going to give 10% off or whatever. You put up signs on the bakery. You're so excited. You put little QR codes on there. Oh, please share, like and share, comment, tell your friends, like this is how you can help us out to spread the word about our new donut flavor, da-da-da. And then you have the unhelpful people that think they're helping. And so these are the people that they stand on the sidewalk outside of your bakery. And you're like, what you doing, friend? You good? Did you want to come in and look at the sweet treats? No, I'm good. Oh, okay. And they're like, well, I see that you really want to promote these donuts. Yes, I do. Would you like to try one? No, I don't want to try one. I don't have any money. Okay, that's okay. That's totally okay. You can take pictures of them and share them on your feed. That would be super helpful to help promote our new flavor. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. I want to help though. Well, I just told you how you can help. Well, I don't want to come in and do that. That's too much effort. Well, okay. I mean, when you go home, you could always like tell your friends you were here today and you saw we have a new flavor. Oh yeah, I'll totally do that. And then they go home and they don't tell anybody. And then more people come to your bakery and they just stand out on the sidewalk. And you're like, hey, you can come in. We have sweet treats. We're open. And they're like, no, we're good, but we're helping. And you're like, you're really not though. And it can get to the point where suddenly there's a crowd of people in front of your bakery out on the sidewalk and you're staring at them and you're like, what are you doing, friend? And they're blocking the door to your bakery. So people can't come in to get your sweet treats because there's all these people that think they're helping, but they're just standing blocking the door to your bakery. So this is what can happen sometimes to authors, and it's really frustrating, and it is definitely something that you have to finesse, and it's that tightrope of you don't want to be rude to people because again, that can hurt your brand, but also sometimes we just want to be like, you're not helping, oh my god. And this is like, for instance, whenever I have a book release, so whenever I announce, hey, I have a new novel, it's coming out, the pre-release drops on blah-diddy-blah date, and then I'll have a whole host of people who say they're very excited about my book release. And I'm like, cool, awesome, excellent. It looks like I'm going to have a lot of people who are going to want to buy the pre-order or are going to want to buy the book on the release day or whatever. And then release day comes. And again, people are like, oh, this is so awesome. I can't wait to buy a copy, da 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 da. And you're like, oh, I'm so glad people are going to buy a copy. People are psyched. And then you sit there and you watch the book sales. Nothing. And then you go back and you're like, hey, friend, I thought you were going to buy a book. You said you were going to. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, I don't have the money right now. Okay, that's fine. Oh, but I want to help. Okay, well, you can like tell your friends that I just had a book release. You can share my post about my book release on your social media, da da da. And they're like, oh yeah, okay. And then they don't. And it's always the simplest things, such as, right now I'm struggling to get my gaming YouTube channel monetized. By the views, I could have been 3 times over monetized by now. I have nearly 400,000 views on my gaming YouTube channel. And I only have 672 subscribers. And it's because 70% of my viewers, and when I say my viewers, I mean people who routinely come back and watch my channel, are not subscribed. And I'm just like, why? You're not helping. Why? It's free to click that button. And they don't. And it's frustrating, where it's like, yes, I'm glad that you like me as a person or as an author or whatever. I'm glad you like my books. We all need that kind of support. But I can't tell you, y'all, the struggle and frustration to see so many people say that they like your books, that they want to buy your books, that they're going. That the worst one is they say they're going to buy your books, and then they don't. And then none of these people actually buy your books. They don't actually do anything to support it. They don't do any of the free stuff that you say will help. And they just stand there and clog the sidewalk. And you're just like, yeah. It's honestly an enigma, because it's like, how do we solve that? Unfortunately, there really isn't an answer for that, because obviously if I could solve that one, y'all, oh boy, would I. But it's that tightrope you gotta walk, because you don't want to alienate people who like you, like your work, support you for whatever reason. But at the same time, it is difficult when there's so many ways that someone could help you and then they just do none of the things. And my partner Neil, the literary mercenary, also talks about this on his blog and his YouTube channel a lot. There's so many free ways that you can support creators, and so many people just can't be bothered to do them. And even though it's something that would take like all of 10 seconds of your day, and still it's so hard to get people to just overcome that inertia and just to do a thing. It is important to have that patience and have that grace, as whether you're an author or you're a creator of any kind, that sometimes you just got to deal with the people that want to stand out on the sidewalk and just not be very helpful, except just tell you that they like your stuff, and that's kind of it. Closing out our fun little bakery analogy here, these are some of the things that authors struggle with, and some of the things that we just find frustrating in our work as authors, and I'm sure other creators can relate to this, that you just, no matter how beautiful you make your pastries, no matter how many signs you put up, no matter how many fun, cute events that you try to come up with, whatever the case, it is still so hard to get your stuff out there, to be heard, to be seen, and to ultimately reach the people who actually do want to buy your sweet treats and are willing and have the money to do so. So that is the eternal struggle, and we're all doing the best that we can. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like. And if you're new, subscribe. All right, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.